All right, we're going to get started. My name is Travis Bergen. I am the president of the Nursing Society for your academic year coming up. Just a few housekeeping rules to discuss before I let Bria, Noah, and Maddie take the floor and introduce themselves. Just keep your mic muted, just so we don't get the actual feedback from everyone who is trying to talk. I know there's only 9 of us on here, but you never know that we're going to get the feedback that the echo-ness and stuff. So if you can, also feel free to utilize the chat. That's what it's there for. Noah's actually going to run through some questions that we have done up, some frequently asked questions that may answer some of your questions, and then we'll open the floor up for discussion. So take it away, Bria.
All right. Hi, I'm Bria. I am the VP to the Pres and our Secretary and Treasurer. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm so glad you have all joined us. I know that we do have a list of questions that we're going to follow by now, but I'll hand it over to Noah. You're muted, Noah.
Sorry, my bad. That'll be the first blooper of the day. But yeah, no, so I'm the treasurer of the society. So I deal with all the money, all that fun stuff, a little bit of extra math. Yeah, so I'm super excited that you guys could hop on. And if you could just do me one favor, it'd just be to pass along some of the key things you take away with some of your peers, because there's 60 of you not here. So just pass that message along. Maddie, up to you.
I'm Maddie. I'll be the secretary for this year, and yeah, I'm looking forward to answering some of your guys' questions and clearing up some of the confusion that I know we all had when we went into term 3. So
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Noah, I'll hand it over to you to go through some questions.
All right, so I'm just going to pull this up on my phone here. So feel free to take notes or whatever you guys got to do to get it in and get it down. But so I think the first thing that causes a lot of stress is about the textbooks. And I think you guys have had to deal with the whole textbook situation. So can somebody just either turn on their mic or put in the chat? But did you guys all get your access codes and all kind of go through those motions? Okay. Awesome. Okay, so what you guys will do is, if you didn't already do it, you're just going to redeem that code through the link that they provide you. And unfortunately, and I know I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, I guess I got to do it. But so these books that they're providing you are all online based. So you don't have access to these books in paper print unless you purchase them on top of that package. So that package supplies you with 13 books. You'll quickly become familiar with very few of them, and I'm going to be honest, you're not going to use them all. So that's why I know a couple students have asked me, is it worth buying all the books off Amazon? And I quickly said no. I personally don't think it's worth it. You guys have enough extra expenses coming into this program that I don't necessarily think that that's probably your best idea. Sorry, I'm just seeing in the chat here, I just got access, need to download them. Yeah, so it shouldn't take very long to download them. You should just kind of be able to access them through that Nursing Concepts online, the virtual library. So that's going to that's the place where a lot of your reading is going to stem from. It's hard on the eyes. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's tough. It gets challenging after a little while, but I think the biggest thing to remember is just to keep taking breaks and get away from your computer screen, go outside, get a snack, have a coffee, do whatever. So yeah, so that's the whole situation with the textbooks. Your textbooks are humongous. Get excited. There's lots of reading to do, but it's worth it. It quickly pays off. So yeah, so the textbooks are sold through the CBU bookstore, so that's where that link came from, and that's where any concerns that you guys have. So I'll give you the bookstore's phone number if you guys want to jot that down, and maybe as I'm saying it, somebody can just put it into the chat there, and so then people that aren't here will still see it. So it's 902-563-1014. 1642. Oh, sorry, I just missed some questions. Is a package for, yeah, so it's for the whole, the rest of your degree. So you will not have to spend any more money on textbooks. Now, I will say you are going to have to buy a calculations book for pharmacology. In our last year, we had, in our physical assessment class, there was an optional book that we could purchase. Now, the teacher does have a couple extra copies, so if you're lucky enough to grab one of those, you can just kind of borrow it. But it's called Jarvis. It's a physical assessment book. It's super helpful. I do recommend getting it. You can get it through Amazon. It's really cheap, but it's the foundations of nursing. It's not something that you're going to purchase and not look at. It's something that when you do your care plans through your upper semesters, you're always going to go back to because it's the basis of nursing through your assessment skills. Let me see. Nursing textbooks for term 3s are compiled into an online account. The code is sold through the bookstore along with the instructions, so you guys already got that. And you will later need to purchase a calculations textbook for pharmacology. So I think we covered all of that. So does anybody have questions about the whole textbook situation? Or any resources that you think you may need, or rumors that you may have heard? So you will receive nothing in the mail. That was another.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I'll just unmute my mic because it's easier to ask. So the textbook is until we finish, like term 6, 7, 8 until third year. That's the whole package, right?
You got it. And I'll give you a little bit of background to that. So recently they switched to a new format of the nursing program. And the only reason I know this is I was on the curriculum committee for a little bit while they had students on it. And so they used to do basically, if you were thinking of, I don't know, circulation, so that's your concept, you would just talk about circulation in one aspect. You would talk about all the exemplars. It would be super confusing, and you would have all this information about circulation. But now what they do is through different terms, you're revisiting circulation, you're revisiting perfusion, you're revisiting breathing. So you're going to keep going back to certain skills. So that's why the textbooks stay the same. You're just going to hit different parts of them through different semesters. So don't panic if in term 3 you use 2 of the textbooks, because in reality, that's probably mostly what you're going to use. But in your upper terms, you're going to get to those more developed books that kind of the whole package consists of. This one's like a nice.
Is there like a code that we would need to wait from the instructor before we could access the books?
What's that, Joey? Sorry.
No, it's like a code from the instructor before we could access the book, because I've already redeemed the code from the bookstore and then I could not open the book at all, and it appears to me that there is some sort of a code or an ID that I need to get from the instructor before I could access the books.
I think it's going to come through your orientation on your first few days. I'm pretty sure you're going to get some more access codes to that, but I don't know. Does anybody else know? I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Welina, because
yes.
then it would come through your NCO, then you'll gain access to another database that looks similar to Moodle that they use in some of the courses that you're going to have. So yes, that will come through orientation, or you'll have it just before you start.
Okay, yeah, you mentioned about NCO. I do not know much about of NCO, but I've heard that is an important book.
Yeah, we're going to get that's the next area. Just to address Deborah's question, how many books did you utilize from the package? I was wanting to get a refund and buy actual books because reading off the screen is exhausting. So unfortunately, Deborah, you can't do that. It's mandatory that $1,400 has got to come out some way or another, because it also includes the cost of the Nursing Concepts Online, which Joey was just talking about, which we know as NCO. So that's where a lot of your quizzes are going to come from, your tests, practice questions. All your course material is going to be on NCO, so that fee compiles everything. So you can't selectively pick like your uniform package if you didn't want certain things and wanted others.
Noah, I just did want to add to that. I don't know about you guys, Travis, Maddie, and Noah, but Deborah, I can say to this point right now, so it's after my first year, or well, second year, I guess, I have opened every book at
Yeah.
least once and used a piece of information from it. I totally get the eye straining, and that's definitely something I'm concerned about for myself as well. Last year, when I did find out that all of our books were online, I did go and get a pair of blue light glasses on Amazon. And I can say personally from my experience, they have helped me. But definitely, I would recommend, as with nursing curriculum in general, is to pace out your studying times and not to be on it for hours on end, even though you're going to feel like you need to be. Definitely take that break because your eyes will strain. But yeah, if you would be interested in blue light glasses, like they helped me, and definitely pace out your readings. The teachers are aware and they have mentioned that to us before. If it is something of major concern, then I would recommend talking to one of the profs or something along those lines. I don't know if you guys have any other tips that you have gone through.
I also have found the blue light glasses to be really helpful with the readings. I was getting pretty bad headaches before, but I find they have helped a lot. So just agree with you there, I guess.
And for those of you who really like the paper books, there are the odd ones that float through that online bookstore. So keep your eyes peeled to that page because sometimes they do float through, so you can grab one. I mean, it might not be all of them. And another handy thing and don't let anybody tell you need the current version. That is not true. You can go back as far as maybe 2 or 3 versions. I wouldn't go past 3. I think that was the number they gave us. But the pages might be like 5 or 6 pages off, but other than that, the information is the same. The text is the same. It's all there. So don't bother spending the money on a new version if you do go that kind of route.
And there are some texts that we use more than others. Like Giddens might be one that you would want to get a hard copy of if you're finding it hard to read, because that's a book you'll use in just about every class, I think. So
definitely. I did get a message about wondering if maybe printing out some of the things might be beneficial. For me, I mean, if that's how, I don't know if you guys have done that. I personally have never printed out chapters because the chapters are like 50 at least pages. And some of the stuff, this is just something that I've learned that you, like Noah said, you go through the textbook, you'll go through that textbook until you graduate. You might have that chapter assigned 5 times throughout, but the point is that there's different sections in the chapter that might pertain more particularly to term 3 and then more particularly to term 5 when you're reassigned to that chapter. So I would say to learn how to be able to kind of not skim, but be able to say, okay, I understand what that's about, but this is the part that I really need to focus on, instead of being way too worried about getting top to bottom in the whole chapter. And yeah, I mean, if there are certain pages like for papers or something that you wanted to print out, that would definitely help. But trying to print out every assigned chapter is going to be would be a lot, and probably a lot of costs as well.
You hit a wall eventually. I was doing it for term 4 when we went online and when COVID started, I think, or not COVID. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was through clinical when we did the VSIM, and you eventually hit a wall where you can't go past anymore. So I don't know what that max of pages is, but you do eventually run it. So that's the unfortunate part of that.
I did want to say too, though, because I know I came upon that at one point, and I thought like, oh, maybe if I can print it out and like read it while I'm sitting in the yard or something, so I didn't have to bring or waiting somewhere. There is like a bookshelf, Travis, I think you know about this. There's like a bookshelf where you can download the text, so you don't have to be online to have Wi-Fi to access the books. I don't know if you guys can speak to that as well.
Yeah, definitely, Bria. I have it on my phone, my iPad. I have it everywhere that I have an electronic device, basically. Just like what you said, you can download them to the device itself, and you don't need Wi-Fi or anything like that, and you can just read wherever. And I will say, I know this is a lot of information that you're probably getting from us at the moment, like right now, but I will tell you briefly that there is a peer program available that is coming to you guys, and you will see it posted tonight on your Facebook page. Um, Basically, what the program consists of is that you are paired with a senior student, and any questions or troubles or anything that you've run into or you need clarification for, that's what we're here for. We're here to help because we went through this already. And I wish we had this coming up. And that's why we're doing it right now. Because having the information or having somebody to help is a blessing. And we're more than happy to help with anything that you guys have or what you're faced with. So just keep that in mind and keep a lookout for it for this evening.
Mm. Yeah, and with that being said, we really, really want to be present, even throughout, until we're here, until we leave, and you guys come up. We want to be present the entire time throughout all of our educations. If you don't already, the CBU Nursing Society has an Instagram page, and we're really going to try and utilize our social media. With that being said, our last post, I tagged each of our individual things if you want to feel more comfortable reaching out to one of us individually, as opposed to the page itself. Totally, we are welcoming with open arms any questions, any messages, concerns, even if you're just stressed. Please feel free. So I'm sorry, I'm just, go ahead, Noah, now carry on.
Program. No, we've all shed tears because of this program. So I think you're going to get through it without crying. Sorry. You're one of the tough, but don't be afraid to ask questions. It's totally normal to get overwhelmed. I mean,
He said,
oh my, I remember
the meeting, and he's like, if you think you're going to get through this program without crying, think again. Yeah.
Any other questions regarding the books before we get on to
Oh, yes, there was one message just saying, what books would you recommend for hard copy again? And was that you, Noah?
Sorry?
There was, oh, I'm sorry. There was one message saying, what books would you recommend for hard copy again?
Oh, maybe Giddens, I think. Would that be?
Yeah.
Nadia, I think it was you that spoke to that.
Yeah, Giddens was definitely one that I got a hard copy of just because I find we use it so much. So Concepts for Nursing Practice by Giddens, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. That too, again, if you are someone who really likes a hard copy, then for sure that one you're going to use definitely. It's not necessary.
No.
There is a highlighting feature. If you haven't played around or you haven't been able to access your books yet, there is a highlighting feature in the book with 3 different colors of highlighter. And you can search. I found this really, really beneficial. There's a search bar that searches the entire text. So instead of normally you'd go in the index to find whatever, it gives you that, which is really awesome. And you can search all of your books within how many seconds just using one term and find so many different ways of information. So that's good too. So don't freak out and think that you need a hard copy if you've only ever used hard copy. Because I know that was me at first.
Did anybody else just get booted out? Because I had to come back in.
Oh, sorry, Noah.
Oh no, that's okay.
It's not my clicky fingers, I promise.
So I think then we can go to the next kind of group of questions. So this is regarding, so there was some stuff on like HESI exams and NCLEX exams. I mean, I'm personally going into term 6 and like that's not even on my radar yet. So like, I think NCLEX wise, it's it's intimidating, it's scary, but just kind of let it all kind of unfold in front of you, because everything's going to start making sense. I promise. I promise. But with the HESIs you're going to do a little bit more frequently than the NCLEX. The HESIs are going to happen after every term after term 3. So you're going to have, it's just one exam. All it is anywhere from 75 to 100 multiple choice questions. And it just ranges from the basics of that semester. And say you write your HESI in term 3, so it's going to be everything you've learned from up to date till term 3. Now, I don't want you to go read every textbook that's been assigned to you from term 1 in your science degree and to the date of the HESI. Just be comfortable with the big concepts that were highlighted in class. It's the teachers that make the exam. They don't necessarily make the questions, but they sit down collectively and decide what questions are going to be on the exam based on your guys' level of knowledge. So they know, they taught you. So there's nothing that you shouldn't, I mean, sometimes there are difficult questions, but there's always going to be those, right? So, but there's nothing that you wouldn't be able to answer with the tools that have been given. So yeah, so that's about the HESI. The HESI,
Sorry,
there is,
Noah.
yeah.
Did you mind if I spoke to the HESI as well? Just
Go
whenever I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
ahead, yeah.
I think the question is, before you get started, is
Yeah,
that
sure.
have they heard about the HESI? Like, has
Right.
it been thrown around, or are we just talking gibberish at this point?
Yeah. So that's a really good point, Travis. So I know we're saying you're going to take the HESI, you're going to take many HESIs. What is HESI? HESI is the name of an exam. So just as when you have your classes and you have your final exams, so you have classes and then your final exams for your classes. And then you go into clinical. And so after clinical, you take one final exam for clinical. The exam that's given for clinical is called the HESI exam. So basically a company that we get our textbooks through called Elsevier makes the exam based off of the curriculum submitted by our teachers. And it's basically a practice NCLEX. So it's styled similarly to the NCLEX. What I'm about to say isn't meant to scare you in any means, but it's designed to be a little harder than NCLEX style questions. And that is for our benefit, to be able to learn the types of questions. If you know anyone that has gone through nursing school, you know that people say NCLEX style questions are a totally different kind of question. So I know that like going through term 3, definitely like Noah said, pick out like specific or overall concepts throughout your classes. But it'll be like a scenario kind of based. You walk into the room and like, what's the best thing to do in this situation as a nurse? And prioritizing. I know that I would say, guys, you can input on this as well, but I didn't find that you could study. It's not a memorization. It's not like a content. It's you go into the room and you see this, and as a nursing judgment call, like, what would you do? So those are the types of questions that the HESI exam will be. And there will be a whole thing introducing this exam, like people telling you about it. The teachers, the professors will speak more to it.
And Bria, as we get closer, and it goes for everybody here as well, we'll definitely put on like a little bit more in-depth conversation about it and how to prep, all that lovely stuff. But I will tell you one thing, coming in as a direct entry student, terms 1 and 2 are totally different than 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Totally different style of learning. It's just a different approach. It's not your typical everyday memorization of material. It's designed to get you to start critically thinking about a nursing approach and patient-centered, basically. So, is there a question?
Yeah, so I think Allison says, what will the practical component look like? Will we be able to get some experience in a hospital or clinic to practice situation assessment and response? So yeah, so the way our program is kind of formulated is you're going to go through 8 weeks of school. So your 8 weeks of school in September, unfortunately, going to be online. So that's old news at this point. So you're going to be using like a similar format to what we're doing now, just kind of like a lecture where you'll have your teacher talking to you. You can still interact if you have questions. I think it's great. I mean, it's not the same as being in class, but it definitely has its benefits. But then once you're done your 8 weeks and you write all your final exams, and there is a standard you have to make to go to clinical, you have to get, there is a benchmark. It'll be outlined in your syllabus, but it's a 65%. You have to get that benchmark in your class to move on to clinical. So once you move on to clinical, you're going to be there for 4 weeks. So you're going to do that twice. So your first 2 semesters are going to be 8 weeks in school, 4 weeks clinical. Your third, your fourth, and your fifth, and your sixth, I think, are all going to be 6 and 6. So you're going to go to class for 6 weeks, and you're going to go back to clinical for 6 weeks. And it's the same format. You'll have your HESI at the end, your final exams for classes, and then your last one is a little bit different. So your last one, you're going to have specialties thrown at you at this point. You're going to have a bunch of fun things. You're going to be almost a nurse. And it's going to be 13 weeks where you're partnered with a registered nurse, not a faculty member, not anybody from the school, somebody that the school is kind of mentoring with to make sure that they produce the quality of nurses they kind of want out of us. So yeah, you will have lots of time to practice those skills. We don't really know what your clinical experience, I don't think, will bring come September, but I think there is talk that you guys will be, if everything kind of happens as planned, you will be in the hospital. I think that's kind of the vibe. But yeah.
Oh, I can definitely speak to that as well. Chatting with some faculty that they're like you said, there is talks about them going back to the hospital. I think it's November. I don't know the exact dates, but Joey, as for your question, you do get your actual hands-on experience before you start writing, hopefully, your HESI and getting your physical assessment down pat and all that lovely stuff. So yeah, you will be able to get that hands-on experience.
What about labs? Are they normally held in class? So normally they would be, but unfortunately they're not going to be able. But there's some super cool things that are coming your way in September. There's virtual labs. The teachers are allowed to be in the lab, so you have basically all the material. And the cool thing about nursing, and I know everybody's like, no, you need to be in labs, you need everything. You don't need anything. You need your hands, your eyes, your nose, everything that's here. Your assessment skills are the foundations of nursing. I mean, your textbooks and your eyes go a long way in nursing. If you can pick up on some things, that's huge. So don't think because you're not in class, you're not going to get the touch. But I mean, hey, mom and dad, can I do a physical assessment on you? I mean, they're not going to say no. I mean, we've done it all many times to our best friends, to our peers. I mean, it's just something that you're not going to get that experience where you're in a partner and you're kind of assessing all parts of the body minus a couple. But yeah, so you will get comfortable with those skills. There's countless videos on this Nursing Concepts online platform that go through each step of the assessment, and then they go through a whole assessment. So don't worry that you feel you're missing, because you're really not missing. And I can speak to the one that's teaching the course right now. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but she's phenomenal. So just take our word for it. She's going to make sure you have all that you need to move on. And I'm sure the others can attest to that.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. All the professors that you are going to encounter, they truly want you to succeed. Some may be a little more intimidating than others, but to the core, they really want you to succeed, and they just want you to do your best. So that's all you can do, right, is show up, do your best, use any resources you can, like Noah said, mom, dad, boyfriends, girlfriends, brothers, even if you have like a bear, practice. Oh my God, I've practiced on inanimate objects all the time. And really, like, when you're so the physical assessment, I'm just not sure if maybe like at that point I wouldn't know the term, but it's basically you go in the room and you're going to look at your patient and look at their head all the way down to their toe, and that includes listening to the heart and lungs and all of that, which you'll get to learn this term, which is super exciting. But as for sounds with your stethoscope, do not freak out if you're like, what am I supposed to hear? And that's the biggest thing, and that's okay. At this point, my biggest recommendation for your physical assessment is placement. Just know your placement, where you're going to put the stethoscope. And I mean, even us, we're still working on that.
Yeah.
So it'll be really good. And I think online learning, which I was really frustrated with at first, for sure. But it gives you an opportunity to really go into the book and find out why. Why do you listen here instead of here? And why is this the loudest part of the heart? And why, it really gives you the foundation background information, instead of worrying all about it in person at first, I find. So I think that's a really good time to dive into the books.
Just to kind of paint what Bria said, I've currently worked in a healthcare setting for 3 years. I've worked in long-term care, so with older people and their personal care and their needs. And you quickly get into a routine. And as nurses, you get into a routine. You're going to work every day. A lot of times it's the same thing every day. Your patients are different. The skills might be a little bit different. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Your routine is the same. The skills don't change. They might change to a degree. You might listen here in 2010. You might listen right beside it in 2020. Just those little slight variations. But as far as that, don't panic, because like we practiced on each other, and I mean 99.9% of the time, none of us had anything abnormal. So we're not hearing the things that you want to hear. You're not hearing crackles in the lungs. Not hearing heart murmurs. I still have no idea what any of those sound like. So those come with experience. There's some nurses that when we were in clinical, they still, like graduate nurses that have been working on the floors, haven't heard bruits or abnormal heart sounds. Just whenever you hear somebody or a doctor say like, oh my God, there's this here, go be curious, go listen to it, because that's the time, that's when you learn it, is if be eager to get those extra skills. Okay, sorry, that's off on like total sidetrack, but okay, we'll go back to so that covers a lot of it except for the NCO. So I don't know if somebody else wants to tackle NCO. I feel like I'm boring people with my voice.
Just to speak to NCO, I believe on the 8th, Janet will be doing a demonstration with NCO, and that is Nursing Concepts Online. And I don't want to get into too much due to the fact that she's going to give you a little tutorial on how to use it, what it's for, all that lovely stuff. We did speak about it a little bit, but I don't want to steal her thunder. But if by chance, like, you don't understand, or you're still are still having a little bit more challenging getting into it or understanding or where to go, by all means, reach out to us. We'll be happy to share our screens and give you a little demonstration at a little bit more slower pace.
Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to ask questions about it either. I know it took me a while to get to know how to use it. It is a really good resource once you know how to use it, but it does take a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And Travis, that was Janet. So Janet, is it Kukne, or how do you say her last name?
Kunke.
Kunke?
Yeah.
Okay. She is a professor. You may see her on your schedule as one of your professors, and she's amazing. She truly is amazing. So I just see Joey. NCO is a program that comes with your book package. So if you've purchased your book, you already have it. It's just a website, and you will be using it, and they're going to teach you. Janet's going to go through it all. And like Maddie said, don't get overwhelmed at first. It does take a little bit of fiddling around to figure it out. And the teachers understand that as well. They totally get that this is a brand new thing. So like we said, ask questions and we'll be here for sure.
Not much in term 3 is going to be assigned through NCO. Like, you'll have nothing that you can't figure out the website. You're not going to be at any disadvantage. So don't worry about if you're a little slower catching on than others, because I mean, something proud of it. Like I didn't necessarily utilize the resource in my first, like in term 3 that much, just because it was overwhelming. The program was new. That was the least thing I wanted to deal with, a whole new software. But just kind of pick at it. Go pick an evening where you're bored, where you don't have much homework to do, and just dedicate it. You'll figure it out. You'll have no problem. But yeah, so does anybody have any questions? I don't want to give you guys too much information, because then it's going to overwhelm you guys and you're going to be more stressed out going into the program. But just know, we're here for you guys. Everything that you guys are going through, we've went through, maybe not to the same extent. Teachers might be a little bit different. But just know, I think the biggest thing that I wish somebody would have told me coming into the nursing program is that they're not necessarily like other professors. And I don't necessarily want to say that science professors and English professors aren't good, because they're all wonderful. But nurses, I don't know. A nurse is a nurse. A nurse is a being. It's not just a career. And I think that everybody's there for your benefit and not their own. And I think that goes a long way. And it doesn't take a long time for the students to notice that. So just go and meet them. Show your face. Introduce yourself. Show you care. And that'll go a long, long, long way.
Noah, did you want to address the question in the chat there?
What is the amount of homework like in terms of work balance? Okay, so they're going to talk to you about that on your first day in orientation, what they think, and they're going to tell you that they don't think you can work. And I thought that was absolutely ridiculous, and I worked in term 3, and I regret it. This program is very difficult. I know financially it's a huge burden. It's huge. It's expensive. It's a graduate program. But I don't necessarily think working in term 3 is a good idea. I think maybe testing the waters in term 3 is a good idea. Maybe pick up a shift on the weekend or every 2 weekends and just kind of put your feet in the water. How does it feel? Because everybody's different. So just kind of get a vibe how your workload is. They're very specific about what they want you to do, and it's up to you guys if you want to do it. There's nobody hounding you to read the book. There's nobody reminding you to read the book. It's going to be in fine print on your slideshow. Please see table blank or paragraph whatever, see page whatever. So it's all up to you guys. What you put into this program is what you're going to get out of it. And I think that maybe work might be just a little difficult coming into term 3, but it's definitely something you can consider in the upper terms, 100%. And that can make up for the term 3.
Definitely. I agree with that, Noah. I personally I'm lucky enough where I didn't have to work. I do understand that people's situations are different. And with that being said, it is a demanding program. But if you are organized, that's my biggest stressor, is just stay organized, because I know for sure the chapters, like Smash Mouth would say, they just start coming and they don't stop coming. So if you say, all right, Monday, I have to read chapter 12, I'm going to read 12. I'm going to get through it. I'm at least going to skim through it. So, and read the end, like the end parts of the chapter, so I know what's in there, and kind of just keep to a schedule. Do 30 to 45 minutes of skimming / reading every night, instead of saying, I'm going to use my whole Saturday. Because I've been there and I know how that turns out. But I will say it will be overwhelming at first with all the chapters. Just use a planner, utilize a calendar, and space out the readings, especially like we mentioned before with the eye strain. That would be my biggest recommendation. I have a planner and I'm neurotic, so I color coded everything with different color pens. So, and I'm going to put this right out there. I did not read every single chapter assigned.
None of us did. I'm sorry.
Sue me.
You stole my thunder, Bria.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm totally joking.
Don't go to class thinking you have to know everything the teacher's going to talk to you about, because chances are you're going to leave class and still have no idea what they're talking about sometimes. So don't panic if you go to class and you don't feel prepared, because they're going to tie it all together for you. and their office is open. They're always there. They literally live on campus. If you see any professors more than nurses, I don't know. They're always there. Yeah, just don't feel alone.
Allison, I want to speak to the amount of homework and being able to work. I can tell you it is heavy, like Bria and Noah said. However, I am 30 years old and I do have 3 children and I'm a single father. And I could tell you, it is heavy. However, like Bria said, if you are organized and you got your stuff in a line, test the waters, like Noah said, and give her, my dear. The sky is endless. Give her. That's all I can say is that if you're organized and you have the time to do it, you want to test the waters, by all means. However, it's not for everybody. I wasn't able to work due to the kids and obviously the amount of work that we have to do in the program, but don't let it hold you back. If by chance you do need to work, make stuff happen. We're all in together. If you need help, there's resources, there's everything that's at your fingertips. You just got to ask.
And don't ever feel that if financially, and this isn't just for Allison, this is for anybody, if financially there's ever problems, just don't be afraid to speak up to professors. Everything is confidential. They will make it work for you, I promise. And just know that, once again, they're all there for your own benefit, and that yeah, your hard work will pay off, I promise.
That too, I know that CBU does offer a lot of positions for students. Them being a little different, I'm sure, now that we're not on campus, but I would absolutely say, if maybe you're gonna look for a job, look through CBU. They have a lot of great opportunities as well. So.
And there's even like academic jobs that pay a little bit. So like for the couple, will there be live Zoom team classes? Yeah, so you'll have assigned times that you'll be expected to go to class. Shoot, I forgot my drift. I shouldn't have done that. What was I saying?
The academic positions that pay.
Oh, tutoring or note taking. If you're somebody like me who is very anal about writing notes out, and I mean, really, it's just scanning your notes and sending them off to a center for your peers, essentially, whoever signs up through the Jennifer Keeping Center. So that's the tutor center on campus, if nobody's aware. There's a lot more information on the CBU page about the Jennifer Keeping Center. So please check that out too if you feel you may need a little bit extra time on tests, if seating might be I don't know, not necessarily being virtual, but like another example would be like with the Jennifer Keeping Center, if you need certain accommodations to write a test in a quiet room, like they can make that happen for you. So I don't want to bore you guys on that because I'm sure you guys are aware of the Jennifer Keeping Center, but just know that there are other resources through that other than just tutoring that can give you a little bit of side cash.
Yeah, and just about Joey's question, what does it say there? Will there be live Zoom team class discussions? I know, Noah, you just spoke to that a little bit. I feel like we can't say anything for sure because things might be a little different for you guys. I'm sure there will be Zoom or Teams, Joey, like you had mentioned before. I'm sure there will be opportunities to discuss things with your peers and with your professors. But definitely you guys are going to get so much information through orientation and through other events that the Nursing Society here will host as well. So after all your orientation, and if you still find that you're not understanding what's happening or certain questions, definitely reach out to us at that point too. We don't want to overload you with information that you don't quite even know what we're talking about, because I know I've been there for certain things as well. But definitely there might be some things that your teachers will be more apt to answer correctly as well.
Is there any questions about the package that you received from Lee Singleton? What you guys had to get done or what is required? Anything that we can answer at this point in time?
I kind of have a question. It's not regarding the kit from Lee. However, you guys mentioned about the clinicals and like if we're going back to hospital or if that's an option. But where we're online this semester is like clinical hours outside of like CBU's community an option, like because I'm like in Nova Scotia, but I'm down like towards Halifax. So like could I get a clinical placement around here, or is that still like all up in the air?
I don't think we necessarily be able to give you a definite answer, but I will be able to say, because I've asked the question if I was allowed to do my term 6 that's coming up away, and they declined that. And the simple reason is you guys are paired with a professor at CBU. Like there's certain professors that take you out to clinical. They're called nurse practice educators, and you're with them at all times. So I'm inclined to say that likely that's not an option, but maybe with this whole COVID and the new restrictions that could be an option that they might be looking into. But I would forward that email off to Lee Singleton, and then if she can't answer that, she'll be able to send it off to somebody who definitely can for you.
Okay, perfect.
Right, and they might even address that in orientation, because I'm sure clinicals at that point that was the only thing I was looking towards. It is really exciting, so I'm sure there'll be plenty of information on that. And like Noah said, they do pair you with a teacher. It's not until your last term that you're paired with another registered nurse, which usually isn't, they usually let you then maybe get a different placement. But like we said, everything is so up in the air right now, and we aren't sitting in on that specific meeting for you guys. So I would definitely either send the email or send the email after orientation if they haven't addressed it already.
Okay.
Bria, actually, I'll take that question and forward it to Rebecca so they can have it answered during orientation.
Beautiful. I love it. Perfect.
Anybody else have? Will there be live Zoom team? Wait, was that one already there? Yeah. Does the Nursing Society get funding from CBU? Good question. I don't know.
Our treasurer.
Me. But no idea.
The answer is no. All of our monies that we have is all raised. There's no allotted funds that CBU gives us to go do certain things. We fundraise our money, and that's where the money comes from.
I have a question about vaccines.
Sure.
So I got all mine done, except my blood test said that I don't have immunity to Hep B vaccine, like the hepatitis B. So I don't I don't know if I can get that in Sydney. Like I'm currently in Moncton, but if I can get that in Sydney with like the student insurance, like I'm wondering what you guys did with the vaccine situation for Hep B. Like if you guys needed that sort of immunity. I don't have all my shots, so.
I had the same problem as you. Did anybody else kind of come into that?
Yeah, I did as well. I wasn't immune to it. And then there was a period where you have to get it over. There's a certain method to getting that. But we were going into clinical so fast that I didn't have time to do that. So basically I signed a waiver just acknowledging that I was not immune to it. And just to be aware of like, I know, Travis, the risk kind of, but like I hate to say like, oh well, here's a risk. Travis, did you have that experience? I saw you nodding your head.
have. Okay, if I could help, probably.
Sure.
So when I was applying for NSCC, they require me to have hepatitis vaccine. So I went to my family doctor, and I had a prescription from my family doctor, and I simply went to Shoppers, and from Shoppers you give your prescription, and they're going to administer the vaccine. So it's like one shot, let's say today or tomorrow, and then 1 month after, and then 6 months after. So I think each vaccine I paid for like $80, and it's like $20 for for them to do the shot for you. So that could probably that's an option for you to do because we have to have it anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you, Joey, for speaking up. So for sure, Shoppers, which is in Sydney, I'm sure you have that available in Moncton as well. And with
Yeah,
this
thank you.
being, yeah, sure, so far in advance, before you guys go into clinical in hospital, if that is the case, for sure. But
I just know it's easy to catch Hep B, so I wanted to get it done at some point.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry, Travis, that's definitely a concern. But I can say in term 3, you won't be really dealing directly with like wound type things, but I do understand the concern. Travis?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna reiterate, Bria, that the option is there if by chance they're not immune or do not have the immunity for Hep B, is that they will sign a waiver prior to go into clinical.
But if that's your concern, like you can go book an appointment with your family doctor. You don't even have to book an appointment. You just have to call the office and say, my name's Allison. I'm going in the nursing program. Unfortunately, I don't have the immunity to Hep B yet. I'm just wondering if I could have that booster. And then they should be able to just forward that prescription to the drugstore just like that. So then you don't even have to go see your doctor. So I would just try that. Leave a message with your doctor's secretary if you have a family doctor, and then maybe they can just deal with it like that. That's what happened for me. And then I just went to the public health clinic and got the injection, and then you were good to go. They'll give you a form, and you just give that to Lee, and it goes in your file, and Hep B is not a problem anymore.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh,
Any other questions? Everyone get their uniforms ordered through Belmac? Any questions regarding that?
and if not, just congratulations on making it this far. It's an accomplishment. It really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of nerves, but like, welcome to nursing. Seriously, like, you guys are going to be nurses, and that is the greatest, most exciting process and nerve-wracking process, but it's so worth it. And I know we are so eager to get into the hospital. I know how eager we were to start. So congratulations. Seriously, this is amazing.
It certainly is. And you'll see all of our 4 lovely faces on orientation day as well. Just doing a little quick spiel. But thanks for showing up. And I'll get in touch with your class rep. Can the sizes be exchanged if they don't fit? Allison, good question. Is it, you said that you were in Moncton and you just did a phone call order?
I just did a paper order, but like,
Okay.
yeah, I put a size medium, but I dropped like a bunch of weight this summer, so it might look like I'm a potato in a sack if I.
No worries, Allison. Actually, we do have if they do not do an exchange or they do not have that that type of exchange, we do have a little program that we can give you some that will fit.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, I'm sure Belmac will be offering a little exchange, as long as obviously they haven't been used, the tags aren't off, kind of just a general swapping of sizes. At that point, I will tell you that the women's shirts are fitted, so you won't look like a big sack. I know that was like a lot of things that we were concerned about too. They're really nice, but yeah, Belmac, I would definitely talk to them directly if they don't fit, before you take tags off.
I could probably help with that because did you order from Belmac? Did she order from Belmac as well? Did she?
Yeah, it's mandatory to order through
Yeah.
Belmac.
Yeah, because when I was there and trying the sizes, I asked them what if this could not fit on me. That my sizes vary from semester to semester, so unfortunately, they told me that that whatever you got would be final, even for the Hemming services. So whatever we have, in my understanding, it's final. So I don't think there's a way that we could return the uniforms to Belmac if in case that it won't fit to us.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
because I asked that when I was there and trying to fit a uniform for me. So
Al,
I did
I'll
was just like choose one size larger than me. So just to it's easier to make it if I gain weight in semester and the coming semester that will still fit on me. That what I was thinking, rather than just that, because I knew that they're not going to replace or exchange the uniform.
Perfect.
Allison, I'll definitely for thank you, Joey, by the way. That's super, super helpful. I'm kind of it's unfortunate that that's the answer they gave you. But Allison, I'll definitely forward that question to Rebecca McDougall. She has, I think, like the upper hand on kind of that Belmac, and she's close with their kind of the rep. So I'll forward that question to her, and maybe she'll be able to look into that. 'Cause I'm sure this problem has occurred before in the years. Like it had to have. But if not, like Travis said, like if they can't, we have a uniform swap program, and it's free. So you just give whatever doesn't fit, and we'll put that in our inventory, and we'll give you the size that you need. There's should be no, yeah, don't worry about uniforms. There's so many, because once you get out, we can't utilize our scrubs. We can't wear green pants. We can't wear the crest once we're a registered nurse. So we inherit all of those scrubs from the graduating nurses, or most of them, I should say. So there's always that option too.
Mhm.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, everyone who signed on, and I will get this recording off to your class rep, and hopefully they'll upload it to your Facebook page. If by chance it does not get there tonight, don't panic. It will get there at some point in time. All right. Thank you all.
It was nice talking to you guys. Good luck in your
Yeah.
upcoming year, and don't be scared to reach out.
Yeah, thanks guys so much. Be a friendly face, because we're totally here and open for questions and answers. Oh, good. I'm glad it was helpful.
Thank you for saying that, Naomi.
Yeah.